Hey guys, what's up? Turbo Dotson coming to you guys with a brand new video. This one is definitely going to be a little different. This is a part of a live stream I had recently on the Twitch channel. Of course, I'll link it down below if you guys want to come hang out with us there. Recently, I talked about all the special diecasts we have behind us, my whole collection, and talked about it, showed some of them off. So if you guys want to check that out, learn about all the stuff I got behind me, then definitely check out this video. And again, if you guys want to hang out with us while we're live playing iRacing, Among Us, Call of Duty, all kinds of stuff, make sure to come join us over on Twitch. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, like it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will see you guys in the next video. What's up, guys? Turbo coming at you guys with a new live stream, and this one is I am super excited about. Hope you guys are too. We are going to go through my diecast, whatever you guys want to see. I know you can't see everything in my camera. In fact, let me switch. You can obviously see I have a second camera set up so I can show them a little better. But here, we'll throw this one up first. But this is my diecast collection. There's a whole thing down below, whole set down below. If you guys want to see a picture, go to my Twitter or my Discord channel. Dude, gifted. Dude, thank you, Wes. Thank you. Again, we are planning to go through the diecast behind me. If there's any specifically that you want to go through, let me know in the chat. I know I had a couple people on Twitter and the Discord mention a few cars that I think they want to see, so I'll try and wait till see if they jump in. Wes, you've been killing it with the gifted subs lately, man. I don't know what it is, but I love it. You are definitely in the giving season for Christmas. So again, let me know what kind of Bean Boozle you want me to do, and we'll do that. Of course, since you just skipped the sub as well, all right, we will definitely do spicy. If there's one in particular car you want me to show you, let me know. Since you just skipped the sub, I'll let you go first. Otherwise, I can definitely grab some that definitely stick out to me. There's most of these, well, I should say my collection started when I was definitely a little kid, probably around 10 or whatever. But most of them I started collecting more so when I was in high school and more so college, and then obviously now. So a lot of these are from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. And a couple here and there that are a little older. So I am super excited about it. Some of these were handed down to me. Some were gifted. Some were bought. A lot of these were probably bought at a racetrack when I went to a race. They always have those off market sellers that are just selling old school gear, which I love. Most of my diecast probably come from them. So yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of different drivers. Obviously, as you can probably tell, I grew up a Jeff Gordon fan, so I do have a ton of Jeff Gordon diecast and gear and all that kind of stuff. So if there's any specific Jeff Gordon one you want me to cover as well, let me know in the chat. I also have some cool just memorabilia type things. Let me pull this one out actually, just to start off. So this... see if I can get it. Let me pull up my other screen. This, if you can tell, is a Dale Jr. bobblehead from his last race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And something really cool about this. Hey, what's up, Steve-O? This is actually autographed by Dale Jr. The story behind this one is that I went to the race at Charlotte. Obviously, they were giving out these Dale Jr. bobbleheads, and I went to Lancaster's, the barbecue restaurant by the Speedway in Morrisville. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, I shared a couple pictures on it. It's also on my Discord. It's a barbecue restaurant, and it's got a whole bunch of old school NASCAR sheet metal and stuff like that. But Dale Jr., I don't know how he did it. I literally don't, because he was in the race. Somehow he got out of the race car and to the restaurant, which is probably, I don't know, like 40 minutes from the racetrack, I would say, maybe a little longer. He literally pulled up in the parking lot with his wife in his truck. He was driving and got to the restaurant exactly at the same time we did. And so he happened to be at the restaurant when we were there, and I happened to have this bobblehead with me from the race. So I brought it in, got it autographed, and got a picture with him that day. So that was a pretty cool moment. Someone was asking about this Jeff Gordon diecast. I believe it was from 2001, his championship year. Yeah, 2001. This one is a pretty good, pretty detailed. The hood obviously comes up. You can see the engine. Sorry, the video quality might not be amazing, but I did want to give you guys two angles, especially this top down that could get a little bit better view. But this is from 2001. Yeah, I probably did post that video from me and Dale in the Discord at some point. But this is the 2001 championship primary paint scheme for Jeff Gordon, obviously. Cool. Another cool story about this one. As some of you know, my dad suddenly passed away when I was younger, 20 years old, and he had a bunch of diecast as well that he had saved, and this is one of them that he had collected. So some of these in my collection are actually passed down from my dad, so it's pretty cool to have some of the stuff from him as well. In fact, this right here, this little pit box Jeff Gordon looking thing, that was from him. That was his as well. That's from Jeff Gordon's 1995 season. And then this one was pretty cool too. This was the last win Jeff Gordon ever had with DuPont on the car. It was the final race. They had him on the car. He happened to win at Homestead. I believe so. It's 2012. Let me look here. Yeah, 2012 Homestead win with the confetti and everything. If you guys can see it, I'll also kind of put it on this one a little bit. So that was really cool. I thought that would be a cool diecast to have, since that was the last race that DuPont was actually on the car. And then again, if there's any specific ones you guys want me to show you, please let me know in the chat. Let's see. And this one is kind of unique. This is a Jeff Gordon, the Bugs Bunny paint scheme from Richmond when they were doing the Bugs Bunny races back in the late 90s. This, obviously this is a clear paint scheme, but this in real life had it's a very unique paint scheme color. It had a paint almost like a silver, but depending on what angle you looked at the paint scheme, it had a different kind of color to it. It was very unique. I almost, looking back, wish I got that one instead of a clear version, but it's still pretty cool. Let me see if I can find the exact year this was. It was definitely in the late 90s. Oh, no. 2001. Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. This is the 2001 model. Pretty cool. One of my favorites. And someone was asking about my Joe Gibbs stack. This one is Bobby Labani 2000 paint scheme, his championship year, which is pretty cool, that my dad also had at one point. It's got the like shiny metallic kind of looking paint scheme paint on it as well to make it look a little nicer. Obviously that was before Joe Gibbs went to Toyota, and they also drove Chevys for a lot of years. But to go with that, I got something cool too. This is a Bobby Labani signed trading card that I happen to have, that I like to keep with it. It's been in this case, in the little casing it's in, ever since I got it. I can't remember the exact year I got it, but definitely like to keep that as part of the collection. So, and there's also, let me pull it out here. There's a Joe Gibbs, Tony Stewart, clear paint scheme from 2002, I believe. Yeah, right here. Let me make sure the year. Yeah, 2002. Right here. Primary paint scheme, clear. My youngest brother, actually happened to grow up a Tony Stewart fan, so we do have quite a bit of extra Tony Stewart stuff laying around. But that's definitely a unique item I have. I haven't really seen them make the clear cards like they used to anymore. If they do, let me know in the chat. What's up, Eli? Welcome to the stream. Obviously, we're doing something a little different right now. We will do iRacing a little later. If there's one in particular diecast that you want to see, or a driver, I have a bunch of different drivers. So if there's a driver in particular that you want to see, let me know in the chat. Yeah, we might try some Carb Cup here in a little bit once we get on. This one right here is also very special to me. This is diecast from Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s very last win. This was actually just given to me probably in the last year, maybe a little less than that. It's even got the tire mark, and if I pull it up on the other side, you can see the tire rub there. Excuse me. That I do have a Jimmy Johnson. I'll pull it out here in a second. But yeah, this was from his Dale Sr.'s very last win at Talladega in 2000. So pretty cool. I got my hands on that. I don't know if any of them are really really available anymore. So a race win diecast, pretty cool to have a Dale Sr. Of course, I have many versions of his car as well. In fact, if you can see right there is a Dale Jr. pop vinyl, or a Dale Sr. And I got this one, which looks like his 1998 Daytona 500 win. But this is just a mini version, not a full-size diecast, but I like to keep it on the shelf. And Eli, you mentioned that you wanted to see Jimmy Johnson, so I got a Jimmy Johnson diecast right here. This was given to me recently. This is based off his 2006 championship, obviously. And it's got his primary scheme with the little decal on the back. And this one's got the hood. You can do the open the hood or open the back, just like the other ones. But that's probably the best one I have. I have a few other Jimmy Johnson ones, not as much as you would think I would have. In fact, let me grab another one. Here we go. So this is from, man, what year is this? It had to be around 2012, something like that. Yeah, 2012. I was right. Primary paint scheme. I think this was one of the years he ended up winning the Daytona 500, if I remember correct. Nice, Eli. So I do have that one. And you may have seen on my wall from time to time some Terry Labani stuff. 2013. Okay. Well, he must have had a similar. I feel like he won in that paint scheme, but maybe I'm just going crazy. That could definitely be it. But as I was saying, I grew up a big Tony Stewart fan, or not. Wow, what am I saying? I grew up obviously a Hedrick fan, and my grandmother actually really got me into racing when I was real little, and she was a huge Terry Labani fan. So obviously, I pulled for him as well. And this paint scheme in particular was his Iron Man paint scheme that he drove in 1996, which is the year I went to my first NASCAR races. And that happened to be at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And this was the car that he drove, the paint scheme he drove that day to win at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Jeff Gordon won the very last race at North Wilkesboro Speedway, which I also happened to be at, which, fun fact, that's the only race that I ever saw Jeff Gordon win in person. Crazy to believe, considering all the wins he had. That's the only one I ever saw him win. So I'm glad I at least got to see him win one race. I also have this one up here. Bill Elliott. I believe this is from 1997. Yeah, somewhere around there. One of Bill Elliott's later McDonald's paint schemes that I also have laying around. It's not my favorite one that he had, but it's still pretty cool to have one of them. So I got that one as well. I do have a bunch of other Terry stuff, like I don't know if it'll show up well on the stream, but this little Terry Labani raced little diecast. If you can see a little bit, there's a little tire marks on the side. And I'll try this camera as well. The lighting just makes it hard to see. You can see in the rear, in front of the rear tire, there's a little tire mark. And then there's some tire marks on this side as well. Yeah, I'd love to hear why you guys are into NASCAR as well. Oh, and here's one of my favorite underrated Tony Stewart paint schemes back when he was finally in the when he was in the 14. Nice, Eli. I love it. Yeah, so this was Burger King, Tony Stewart. If you can kind of see in the package, it's got the blue flames on the side. So that's why I love this paint scheme. I just think it looks really cool. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And again, if there's anybody particular, a driver, let me know and I can see if I can pull it out. This one was actually, this Dale Jr. one was actually given to me for free by someone who happened to work in NASCAR at the time. And so that was pretty cool. Let me fix this real quick. Cool. All right. This is Dale Jr. 2012 Diet Mountain Dew paint scheme, obviously. Was pretty cool. Glad to add that one to my collection. So I definitely have been lucky to have some people pass them around down to me. And here I have Dale Jr.'s very first paint schemes when he joined Hedrick Motorsports. I got the amp. And then I also have the National Guard. All right, Eli. Pretty glad you could hang out with us. Let me put these back. Got a few more Dale Jr. ones that I think would be pretty cool. This is one of my favorite video game Dale Jr. paint schemes, and that's the 88 Halo 5 paint scheme. Halo 5 itself was not a very good game compared to the other ones, but the paint scheme itself looked pretty cool. Jamie McMurray also had a Halo paint scheme the same weekend that I should probably get so I can have matching paint schemes, but this one was pretty cool. I can't remember what race it was, but it was like Kansas or something like that, if I remember correctly. And of course, I have Dale Jr.'s final race diecast in the 88 throwback to his rookie seasons in the Cup Series. And this was a race driven paint scheme. If you can see a little scratches on the side as if it was when it was done racing. I got that one as well. I'm not going to get it out right now because it's kind of hard to get to, but this one is actually pretty special. This Chase Elliott paint scheme diecast, it was actually his 2019 Roval race win diecast, which I happen to be there. I've been to every Roval race since it began. And obviously Chase Elliott has won 2 years in a row. Last year's was pretty dramatic, especially after he wrecked into the tire barrier in turn 1 and then came back to win. So I thought it would be pretty cool to add that diecast to my collection, especially as a Chase fan. And so I got that for Christmas last year. So that's probably one of my favorites. Any other diecast? I do have this other big diecast. This is a Tony Stewart Polar Bear Coca-Cola paint scheme from 2001 or 2002. Let me find the year on it. 2001. 2001. This was run at Talladega, if I remember correctly, in 2001. And Bobby Labani also drove a similar paint scheme that day. And that race in particular, I remember Tony Stewart went for a wild ride on the backstretch that day, and went flipping. And I believe Bobby Labani was collected in the race that year, or that race as well, in the big one. And I can't remember who won the race, but it was definitely exciting. This, while I'm looking at the Joe Gibbs aisle, I did find this Bobby Labani Small Soldiers paint scheme, which I believe is, in my opinion, underrated. Pretty cool. I love this movie. I know it doesn't get a lot of slack, and it's an old, or a lot of hubbub, but it's an older movie. It came out when I was a kid, and I loved it. Me and my brothers. So when they sponsored Bobby Labani, we had to, of course, get the diecast when I was little. Definitely one of my favorites. I can obviously, as you can see behind right here, that's when Jeff Gordon threw it back to Exalta, or his original Rainbow Warriors paint scheme. In 2015, before he retired, he ran it at Bristol. Too bad he couldn't do it in the Darlington race. But of course, I had to have that as a last season diecast. It was pretty sweet. Definitely one of my favorites. And let's see, we have, oh yeah, this is also one of my favorite Jeff Gordon paint schemes of all time that doesn't get talked about a lot. But that is the Jeff Gordon Performance Alliance paint scheme. I believe this was 2007. The 2005 actually. 2005. I only bought this for like $12, even though it's a really nice piece. This was run during the All-Star race in 2005, and I happened to be there at that race actually. And he didn't win, but it was still one of my favorite paint schemes, and I bought this off one of the sellers. All right, thank you, Eli. Thank you. I do need that drink. Oh, yeah, this was definitely one of my favorites. I bought it off a seller across from the racetrack for a race one day, because you can buy diecast for pretty cheap at the racetrack from individual local sellers, and they were selling this for like $12. And so I totally grabbed it and bought it, and I'm glad I got it on my collection because it's one of my favorites. Now, this one's not necessarily a diecast. This one's not necessarily a diecast. I can get it out because it's falling apart. But it's one of my favorite toys ever growing up, and I happened to find it again at one of the sellers at the local sellers at the racetrack. And this is a toy. It was a childhood toy of mine that I lost. I don't know what happened to it, but I found it at a race being sold at the racetrack, and I had to buy it. And I think I got it for like $15. But what's really cool about this toy, obviously, is Jeff Gordon, duh. But what's really cool, and I don't have the other pieces right now, but you can like take it off, and if you can tell, this is a little crumpled, as if he's been in a wreck. There's actually pieces that you can swap with this, so it looks like a normal hood that's not crumpled. This tire comes off. If I can get it to come off. Yep, and this is a normal looking tire, but there's a tire you can replace it with that looks like it's a flat tire, and you can replace the hood, the bumper. The bumper, it looks normal right now, but you can change it to a crumpled bumper. So this toy was really fun to play with when I was a kid, and the things we did with it were pretty cool. Let me put this bumper back on, or this hood. But it was so cool to be able to, there goes the tire again. So cool to find this and have this, because this was seriously like one of my top 5 favorite toys as a kid. They made a Dale Earnhardt Sr. version of this as well, which I haven't seen yet. But if I ever find it, I'll probably get it just to add it to the collection. But I was so stoked when I finally found this because I, for years, was dreaming, man, I would love to add that back to my collection, just have to hold on and share with my kids, which my daughter has played with a few times and she's really enjoyed it. So to be able to get this back in my collection is pretty cool. So yeah, anytime you're at a racetrack, definitely check out the local sellers because you just never know what kind of stuff you're gonna find. And so that was pretty cool. Let's see again if there's any drivers. No, unfortunately you can't see it. You can see it on my Discord or my Twitter, but right here on the third row down on the right, there's a bunch of little diecasts that look during these types of cases. These were actually my dad's and all given passed down to me that I added when he passed away. But there's like a bunch of them. They're from like the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, late 90s. Should be late 90s. There's a bunch of them. If there's any other drivers you guys specifically want to see, let me know. Obviously, here's another Bill Elliott. This is the Midnight Snack paint scheme that he drove. That's really popular. Jamie Mack did a throwback paint scheme to it, which was pretty cool. And also includes two of my favorite paint schemes. Ernie Irvan in the 36 Skittles that Kyle Busch did a throwback to. And then I also have this Chad Little, I think was the driver. And Kurt Busch drove this paint scheme for maybe his first year, the year before he went full time. And this John Deere 97, I think, if I remember correctly, Ricky Stenhouse with Roush Fenway did a throwback to this paint scheme as well. And this one is maybe not a unique or special to you guys, but it is special to me because this was the 41 owned by Larry Hedrick. This 41 car was, this version is driven by Steve Grissom, but the most popular driver probably to drive for Larry Hedrick in the 41 is Riggy Craven. He won Rookie of the Year in this car, and he you guys might remember his pretty horrific wreck at Talladega. And so that you might know him from that, and obviously he went on to do TV and stuff. But as I was saying, the 41 team, Larry Hedrick is important to me because my grandparents, who I mentioned, my grandmother got me into racing, actually personally knew Larry Hedrick. Unfortunately, he passed away this year. They went to his funeral, but they knew him personally, went to a lot of races with him. They got invited to go in the owner suites and meet the driver, go down in the pit road and all that. And this was during like the 80s and 90s. But and I was really little when they introduced, and I wasn't obviously into NASCAR as much as I am now. But it was really cool to be able to have that connection and get me into NASCAR and see that, because when I was little, we did go check out the race shop, and they did invite us to like the drivers haulers and RVs and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I hate to see him pass away this year. But it was cool to see a lot of people appreciate what he did for the sport. And it was cool to see Chip Ganassi Racing and Kyle Larson do a throwback paint scheme to Riggy Craven, I believe last year in the Darlington throwback race, which was really, really cool. So those are pretty cool. I do have one other one. I know I talk about it a lot. Y'all know I talk about my Cartoon Network paint schemes a lot, so let me grab those. There's like 5 or 6, and these were great because they were all these paint schemes were driven while I was a kid. So to see them driven, a Cartoon Network car driven as a kid, that was awesome. And there were just so many different paint schemes. I'm pretty sure I don't even have them all. But let me grab what I do have. I do have a number of them. And you guys can see them a little bit there, but it was pretty cool to have them back. Have them. So this one is a Scooby-Doo of Zombie Island paint scheme You can see it's got Scooby-Doo there on the hood. Let me pull it up to this camera. Maybe you can see it a little better. So there's one. We have a Flintstones 29 paint scheme by Steve Grissom of all people, who we were just talking about. And I don't know if I can remember the exact year these were all driven. The Scooby-Doo one was in 1998. I believe these were all driven over the course of a couple years. This one was Lake Speed and Tom and Jerry birthday cake one. Which was pretty cool. And then we have another, this kind of a combination of things. Tom and Jerry, Dexter's Laboratory. Oh, and I'm totally blanking on this other show on the back or on the side. If anybody knows what show that's from, let me know in the comments, because I do not remember what that show was. But yeah, here's another. This is kind of a highlight of all their shows. Maybe I need to fix our lighting for the next episode. Again, I know my camera's not the greatest, but I did want to show you guys these. What's up, Wes? Glad you made it back just in time for Cartoon Network. We do have some Roush cars somewhere. Let me pull them up in a minute once we're done with these. So there's that one. And then another Scooby-Doo one. Driven by Robert Presley, which I believe is the spotter for Brad Keselowski right now, if I remember correctly. Again, yeah, this is another Scooby-Doo 29 car that was driven. Again, these were all driven when I was a kid. So to see a Cartoon Network car like this when I was a kid was awesome. All right, and we have one more. This one is a bunch of shows. This one is going to be harder to see. But number 9. I don't recognize the show, but it is another Cartoon Network car that I have. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Cartoon Network cars, and that's not even all of them. I definitely know there's some more out there that I don't have, but at least I got some. You were asking about Roush. I know I don't have a lot, but I'm pretty sure I have some. In fact, I should have Martin around here somewhere. Do I have any others? Can't believe it. I thought I had a Mark Martin car around here somewhere. I'm gonna check one more spot here in a second, but I do have this Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Sunny D paint scheme. I always thought the Sunny D paint schemes for Roush and the 17 always looked pretty slick, so I went and grabbed me one of these. And they all look about the same every year, but they always I love the colors on them. So I had to grab them. Let me see if I have any other Roush. I'm surprised I don't. To be honest with you, obviously they have a lot of great drivers. No, I don't. Actually, wow, I am shocked. I don't have more. But if there's any others that you guys want to see, let me know. I obviously have some more. And I know we were talking about Tony Stewart earlier, but I do have this one. It's a little normal, it's bigger than your normal diet, like small toy diecast. But I have this Peanuts Halloween version, probably from 2001, if I had to guess. See if I can find a year on it. 2002. 2002 Peanuts Halloween paint scheme. And I know this one isn't a diecast, but pretty cool. This wrapping paper was the same one my grandmother used on me when I was a kid. Throwback to Jeff Gordon's original Rainbow Warriors paint scheme that my grandmother just wrapped an empty box just so I could have the wrapping paper, which is pretty cool. I know it's probably not worth much, but still pretty cool to have. Let me grab these because all of these are pretty special. Again, if there's any other ones that you guys want me to show you, drivers, let me know. So this Jeff Gordon paint scheme, and typically you guys see them sitting up here because they're pretty big cars for Jeff Gordon's career. This is Jeff Gordon's last win. As you guys know, he won the last race at Martinsville to get into the championship race. This is the race win smaller diecast, so I got that one. Of course, I had to add that one. This is the last primary paint scheme he had with DuPont. Obviously, I showed you guys right there earlier. His last race win with DuPont on the hood came at Homestead in 2012. I have that diecast right here, race win. But this was his primary paint scheme the last year DuPont was on the car. So I had to get that because that was pretty big. And of course, we have his last race diecast. What's up, Logan? That he ever raced at Homestead when he was racing for the championship. Now, what's a bummer about this, and I didn't notice this till recently, is if you can see on the windshield, it should have been yellow where it says his name Gordon in the Chevy logo since he was in the championship that year. Why they didn't make it yellow, I have no idea, like they did with the Martinsville race win, because that was the same year, obviously. But again, it's still really cool to have all three of those because they're all pretty important, I feel like, for Jeff Gordon's career. Now, I know Under T. Dotson here is grew up at least a big Tony Stewart fan, and we've gone over a bunch of Tony Stewart stuff so far, but there is this one as well. Put this one back. This is from the first year that Tony Stewart took over of ownership of Stewart Haas in the 14 car. Office Depot, Old Spice on the hood on the car. So we had to get one of those, of course, for when he started driving for Stewart Haas Racing. And if there's any particular drivers you guys want me to see, other Chase Elliott stuff I have. I have a bunch of these little diecasts as well, just because they're easier to fit in my collection and they don't take up as much room. So I have a lot of those. But this is, let's start with Chase Elliott in his rookie year. Obviously, as you guys know, Chase Elliott took over for Jeff Gordon in 24 when he retired. So this is his paint scheme from his rookie year when he was actually still in the 24. Had to grab that. That's how I became a Chase Elliott fan. Obviously, he took over the 24 when Jeff Gordon retired. This is probably one of my favorite Mountain Dew paint schemes. Y'all know I love some Mountain Dew. In fact, spam the chat with the GG emote if you guys would, please, for Mountain Dew and Baja Blast. But yes, that he drives the Mountain Dew paint scheme probably at least once a year. And so I had to grab one. This is probably one of my favorites that he's had. And then this is just his normal Chase Elliott number 9 Napa Chevrolet. This one, I believe, is from 2019. See if I can find the year on it. 2018. This is from 2018. This is the one he drove in 2018. So I do have those other Chase Elliott diecasts as well coming, or that I do have. And I will buy a Chase Elliott championship diecast, probably when it's not hard to find. So I will definitely add that to my collection. And let's see here. Are there any others particular that I want to show? If you guys can somewhat see, this is a bunch of other Jeff Gordon stuff, including his Bush or Xfinity cars now. That's when he was driving the Babe Ruth #1. Again, sorry for the lighting. My camera is not the greatest. Yeah, there you go. Most people know him for driving the #1 Bush or Babe Ruth car for Ford, which is hard to believe him driving for a Ford. And then we also have the Outback 67 car, which was driven in, does it say? This was in 1990 Outback. And that was a Ford as well, if I remember correctly. Let me update this real quick. And again, if you guys, as I keep saying, have anything in particular you want me to show you, let me know in the chat. And let's see here. There are, yeah, I can get these out. Batman and Joker paint schemes that not Roush, but Doug Yates drove in the late 90s, 1998. I'll show you the Joker one first, since that one I'm a bigger fan of the Batman paint scheme, but this was driven by Kenny Irwin in the 28 Joker paint scheme. I can't remember what movie exactly came out around that time, but I'm sure it was based off a movie. But yeah, there's that one. See if we can get a good shot of the hood. You can see the Joker there a little bit. And then we also have the Batman one. And this one was driven by Dale Jarrett, obviously. I love the contrast between the orange and the black. I think it looks pretty sweet. And then let's see if I can get the hood here a little bit. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. It's kind of covered up because it's old and the box makes it a little hard to see in the camera. But definitely a bigger fan of the 88 and the 28. Let me know which one's your favorite in the comments. Let me put those back. Trying to keep these in somewhat of an order since there's a lot of them and I gotta put them all back. And this one I got pretty cheap as well. I think I found this one at a JR Reynolds store, if y'all even know what those are. But this one was a 2007 probably. See if I can find the year. 2009. I'm always a year or two off. 2009 primary DuPont paint scheme for Jeff Gordon. This is when he switched to the red and black, or orange and black, whatever you want to call it. So that one was a pretty good, pretty easy, or pretty cheap find. This Jeff Gordon one is pretty cool. Oh, that reminds me, I'm going to show you my one of my very favorite paint schemes. This is a Jeff Gordon. They don't make these anymore, I don't believe, but it's obviously a Jeff Gordon Daytona paint scheme, pit box, diecast with the pit crew and everything. In the pit box, you can even see the pit box right around there. They upheaval all the tires and stuff behind the wall, so this is pretty cool. I wish they made more like these. That would be pretty slick. And then let me find my favorite paint scheme of all. And I have Jeff Gordon's rookie paint scheme. So my favorite one of all. Drum roll, please. Let me pull up the drum roll. Da da da. Kyle Petty's 44 Hot Wheels, 1997, I believe. 1997 to 1998, somewhere around there. Let me see if I can find the specific year. Yeah, 1998. Wow, it says it right on the box. Yeah, it's got the pit box, the die cast. Definitely one of my favorites. In fact, I have a Hot Wheels Daytona track, the little rechargeable cars that go around the track over and over and over again. And that's one of the paint schemes they have. But yeah, I love this paint scheme. In fact, if you guys watch me on iRacing, you know that I drive this paint scheme in the ARCA series. They have that paint scheme available, so I drive it in the ARCA cars. But definitely really unique. I love the little loop around the number, like the real Hot Wheels tracks. It's kind of simple, but I love that paint scheme. It's one of my favorites. And I also grabbed this because I had it down below. This is a Jeff Gordon rookie year hauler, car carrier, whatever you want to call it. And it's got even the gold version to 1993 rookie year car. Obviously the Rainbow Warriors. So pretty cool. We have basically a car from almost every year he drove in the Cup Series. So that's pretty sweet. Let me grab these two. This is, what year was this one? This was, I can't remember. It's probably like 2008, 2009. I can't see the year on it. But a throwback to Daryl Waltrip driving the Mountain Dew car. Dale Jr. drove this car. I believe he drove it at Bristol, if I remember correctly. But pretty sweet. I always love that throwback. And then obviously Dale Jr. won 2 Xfinity, then Busch Series championships in the AC Delco number 3 blue car. And you guys know I've driven this paint scheme a lot in the Xfinity series on iRacing. I just love how simple it is. Obviously, it looks very similar to his dad's black and white paint scheme that he drove in the Cup Series for a long, long time. But I love simple design. You'd be surprised how good a simple design looks sometimes. And then I do have, speaking of Dale Jr., a throwback to his dad's old Xfinity race paint scheme. They drove in the throwback Talladega or Darlington race weekend last year, not this season, but the year before in 2019. He drove it at Darlington for the throwback weekend. So I grabbed that since I thought that was pretty cool. Now, let me know if you guys want to see any more cars tonight. If not, we can try and get into some iRacing. I'll give you guys a minute or two. If there's any other cars you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. And then I can, we'll take a quick break so I can get my steering wheel set up and then go racing in iRacing. Maybe do some Talladega or Carb Cup or Talladega got a pit. So thank you guys for definitely listening to me ramble for almost an hour now. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, as always, you know I have a channel point reward on here that anytime you guys want me to pull out a diecast and show you, I can do that as well. So that's always an option if you guys want to see other cars. And anytime I add a car to my collection, I'll definitely add it as well. So again, hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm going to go ahead and take a short break here. I'll throw up the break screen. And then we will get back into iRacing. But again, hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will be right back in about a minute or two.